Pleasant good evening to each and everyone in Georgetown, Guyana, the diaspora, and elsewhere. First, let me send my condolence out to Israel, to Palestine, and to Iran, and to Ukraine and Russia, the loss of innocent life because of politicians. Politicians who make laws and pass laws and hide in the bunkers while innocent men are on the battlefield getting killed or lame, paralyzed, and their family have lost them, while politicians drinking champagne and shaking hands. The innocent family are grieving for their loved ones. Today, in the United States of America, we have seen what is happening with the present government led by the Honorable Donald J. Trump and the laws that make and with the ISIS and what they are doing. Yes, and it is very painful, ladies and gentlemen, because Donald Trump campaigned on getting the rapists, the murderers and the criminals and all together out of this country. And I will not blame him for 1 minute on behalf of that. But ISIS are arresting everyone who looks suspicious, even citizens. And so many laws are being changes and making under the Honorable Donald J. Trump, the President of the United States of America. And I don't blame him. So I ask these questions. For all of you who are living illegal in the United States of America, you have a right to make a petition and do the right thing. But today we are blaming Trump. Trump is mad. Trump don't like people. Trump don't like this. But I want to ask a question. As it was alleged, and is alleged, that during the time of Bill Clinton, 12-point-something million immigrants was deported out of the United States of America. And to be fair, I didn't hear any arguments about it. Brother Obama, by the way, again it's alleged 5-point-something million was also deported. And I heard no comments, no low talks or whatever. Now, does not a man have a right to protect his rights of his country? Or a man have no right to protect his family when gunmen will walk in, kill, rape, and maybe burn the building down? We all have that right. Think of it, ladies and gentlemen. We have that right. But we must stop blaming and analyze it carefully. We are in Georgetown, Guyana. Who had caused the separation for the Indian and the black people in Guyana for not to be united even on to this day? After the 1960 uprising that was created by the late John F. Kennedy administration, when Dr. Jagan refused to accept the plea from Kennedy not to go into the hands of the communists. During the time when Cuba was getting the missile from Russia, and right in the backyard of Guyana in Chile, Allende and Pinochet affair. Not forgetting Guatemala and other Latin South American countries, and at the same time in Africa with the change of venue that white man go home. And in Africa, in modern time, in Uganda, Idi Amin drove 1 million East Indian descendants out of Uganda. India, according to information it's alleged, did not take one. Now, I asked many questions. Today, this is the United States of America. And yes, we are all living here. And we want to enjoy the hospitality and the welfare of the people so that we can enjoy life and live properly. But 90% of the people that are living in the United States and Europe, they really don't want to be here. but giving the Arch of America, the message of the United States of America for democracy, freedom for all, and sky is the limit. We all and others choose here and some European nation. But for my black ancestral link, because I have your blood in me, and I will deal with the Indian in a minute, you got to come off of this slave talk. If the Bible is right, and the history book is right, then the first slave owners were black people, our ancestors. If it is right, ladies and gentlemen, them and the Arab race come out of India, the Mongolian race, and the black race in one. Egyptians, they are all black people. But hundreds of years have passed, and civilization take a new life, and everybody start to trade and mix. Even in the history book, there was a country in Africa which was not the name of Africa, where the kings used to give visitors bar of gold. Think of it. Today, we are living in the 21st century to go back into something that we were told and read by historians but never witnessed with our eyes. And what we witness, we close our eyes and change the conversation just to suit us. This is not what I call humanity or civilization. Today, everyone is mad with Donald Trump. Let Trump do what he thinks is right, for nothing lasts forever. We, in modern time, South Africa, Mr. Mugabe drove the European white people out of his country, former Rhodesia. Ian Smith pulled down the flag of Britain and pulled up his name, his country different, declared his own independence, only later to be driven out by the leader who turned back and had 5 or 4 policies in England and France and robbed former Rhodesia, and that is what the cry of the black man. Today, the world happens to be free. China rules itself and drove the European out. The last Chinese colony was to be given up back to China was Hong Kong. Year 2000 was granted the freedom back to mainland China. The last country to be given the real freedom in the African continent was South Africa. But even though that happens, India run by Indians, divided by religion, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and many other, and only religion divided. They are not together. And late, few months ago, before the election in India, the Prime Minister Modi stated India is only for Hindus. And he made it clear, but he went to Guyana and met a president who is a Muslim, Ali, and a Hindu vice president, Bharat Jagdeo. Today we have a problem where black people in Guyana is claiming, watch what the Indians are doing, everything owned by them, and they're getting all the contracts. And maybe you're right. But are they forgot under Burnham what was happening? Learn one thing, my black relative friends. Indian people are not a pack of fools and racial people. There's a difference between a lion, a tiger, a jaguar, and a hyena. The animal behavior. Think. You, the black people, what you have done to the Indian under the coalition government with Burnham is not a forgiving affair. For all those women who you rape and have to have sex to have a job, it's not a forgiving affair. And many of you Indian women love to hide it because you're ashamed. Come out and call the name of some of them if they're still alive. Under that, we see what the PPP has been doing. But what I'm trying to get to you, When a black man rise up or woman and speak the truth, they are victimized by their own black leaders, such as the late Samson Burnham, which assisted by the late Cheddi Jagan. Take the late Walter Rodney, the son of Guyana, and his story, who wrote books such as How Europe Underdeveloped Africa, and many more. Was deported also from a black island called Jamaica when there was an uprising with the university or the college against the Siaga and Manly or Bustamante government. But that is their history. The sons of Guyana returned to Guyana and get involved in a political party called the WPA, the Working People Alliance, who unite the educated blacks and Indians come together. And there was the third force in Guyana, because the united force in the 60s was the third force between the PPP, the PNC, was the UF with a Portuguese man named Digar. Digar so happens during the riots and thing in the 60s that was created by John F. Kennedy administration and Dean Ross as Secretary of State or whatever, created to save Guyana from falling into the hands of communism. Indian Dr. Jagan betrayed the nation by accepting communists versus imperialists, capitalists, and freedom for all. He was warned by Kennedy the late not to get involved. Dr. Jagan bluntly told Kennedy, you could stop the clock, but you cannot stop communism. His wife happens to be a court information, it's alleged, from the Rosenberg family, who was executed in the 1950s in America because of the communist tradition. Jeanette get involved with Dr. Jagan. And according to information, it's alleged, there was another woman who was to be his wife, who was a white American, but was removed by the Jewish organization. And Jeanette, according to information, it's alleged, pay all expenses for his schooling and everything, and he married her, bring her to Guyana, and he formed the PPP. There was an Indian movement who were fighting the British on behalf of tax of salt and other things. But Dr. Jagan formed the PPP. Burnham was the General Secretary. U.C. Quayana was a part of it. Brinkley Ben. And I think it's alleged Aston Chase, Wilson, and many other great educated black scholars. But Burnham and Jagan were together. But they realized the PPP will not go far. They had to divide. So you had PPPB, which is Burnham Party, and PPPJ. And then they changed it to the cup and the broom. PNC the broom, PPP the cup. Ladies and gentlemen, in an uneducated country, is not aware of political bureaucracy, but living in hypocrisy, Indians hold on to their Indian leader because they believe he had their heart in his hands and is willing to work with them for the benefit of them and the country. While Burnham, on the other hand, with his racial way of thinking with the blacks, think he was the only hope for black people freedom in Guyana and would have been the start for the great-grandchildren of slavery around the Caribbean and other areas where they were living. Unfortunately, lack of education and knowledge, the people was not thinking that this two leaders only separate to gain power because the CIA was very busy watching them and the British was there. It so happened in the late 60s, a Thursday night, Queen Elizabeth's sister, Margaret, flew out of Guyana. And the Friday, the 13th, was fire and brimstone in Mackenzie, Wismar, and all over where there was other race living between the blacks. Buxton, Pleasance, Stouffville, Agricola, MacDoom, Mocha, wherever. But Indians love to argue, fight, but they are not racial. You, the black people, were the racial one, giving the status that white man slave your ancestor, and you're asking for reparation, even though they give you a white Jesus dress, a church and a school, and educate you. While when they bring our ancestors out of Africa, there were no education, they came with no clothes on. Only the Indian came with clothes, they all dressed as cheap labor, came as if they were angels in white uniform, clothes, dresses, man and woman alike. Okay? So let me make this clear to you for your history. And the last boat arrived in Guyana in 1918 at Myconia, Mahaica, with the Indians, cheap labor. Why am I saying that you, the blacks, are the most racial? And I'm going to make it clear. Now you're going to say I hate black people. I got your blood in me. I call a tiger a tiger, a jaguar a jaguar, a lion a lion. I cannot call you a lamb when I know who you are. But there are differences among you. Out of 200 and something thousand of you, 70 to 80 something thousand genuine black human beings as African descendants, the great-grandchildren of African descendants. Genuine human being, loving, kind, devoted. God can open heaven and accept them, and you don't have to worry. The rest is garbage because of lack of education, knowledge, and lack of understanding, because they were brainwashed by the political hypocrisy from Bernard regime. And Mr. Green is alive. I do hope Hamilton Green can tell you all the truth before he died, which is not long from now. God have his time. We all have to die. But coming back to it, Bonner was the first leader to legalize obeah. Many children were missing until now cannot be found in black and Indian neighborhoods. But you all don't want to accept that. In Mackenzie and Wismar, did any of those houses that was owned by the Portuguese, the Chinese, and the Indian was given back to them after the uprising? No. No. But you black people quick to talk about race. Everybody owe you something. You do no wrong. Then you come with your ignorant nonsense. Adam and Eve was black. Jesus was black. Muhammad was black. Noah was black. Abraham was black. That should help me, God. If my whole ancestors were black, and y'all didn't fucking listen to God, who you gonna listen to? You had the right to send a lighter-skinned people to deal with the nonsense. And let's face reality here. There are good black people around the world. When the European entered the shore of Africa, India, China, even though they were not doctors and lawyers, they were like pirates, traders. They arrived in Africa by accident. Many were eaten and killed, according to the history. But you don't hear them talk about it. And before they arrived there, they were slaves in their own country, England, France, you name it, Spain, Europe, all over, Greece. Come on. So they give them a chance on the ship to go see what they could discover. The pirates from Spain was ruling the West Indies. Jamaica was the headquarters in Cuba. So what are y'all talking? But those are history that was written, change of the course, give you 10% truth and 90% that you must hate what you read. But it also gives you a lesson not to return to those age, not to go back, because in those times you didn't have three-piece suits, you didn't have the black track boots, socks, you didn't have underwear, you didn't have a machine gun and bombs and things you had, or a cell phone, you didn't have a microphone, you didn't have an electric guitar and a saxophone, friends. What I'm getting at, every nation suffer under this blue sky by tyrant leader, whether by their own or foreigners. It was a change of venue when the European entered China, India, and Africa. Today, 16 or 17 Caribbean islands ruled by the great-grandchildren of Africa. Show me how many African countries still ruled by European who once conquered it. Or Chinese, or East Indian. Show me. And show me what part in India is ruled by European after y'all was given your independence, or even in China. Show me. But y'all are talking what the white man done. But y'all are not talking the good things he also do, which you're blaming Trump. You are the first to throw the stone. Now when it is coming back, you feel offended. Now you are creating a bigger catastrophe for the young generation. Why not forget the past, but don't bring it forward and unite and make this world a better place? Look, the Jews, if they are the rightful one, from the Moses time of Egypt, Moses crossed them over to Canaan. They didn't listen. If they are the right one, he threw the commandment in their face. They were the only nation was not allowed to go no way and whole land. They was like nomad. They didn't have a nation to call their own until 1947, with the help of Britain and the United States, that Britain was ruling Palestine, that take the Jews there, and 1948 there was conflict till into the 60s, 70s, from Manhattan Begin, from the first Prime Minister as a woman, to Netanyahu. And what's happening? My greatest condolence goes out to the innocent children and women and people who are losing their life in Israel over corrupt politicians. And in Palestine, also, now Iran. If you have a gun, must I have a slinging shot? Then if we follow the Bible, David had a slinging shot with a rock, while Goliath had a sword and a spear. Something is not right here. I do believe in a straight plain field. But the Muslims have a lot of things about them that you have to be careful with, like the Indians. Sorry. Indians are not racial people. They are very presumptuous, very corrupt, very confusing, and they are very spiteful and very revengeful. They will do anything to accomplish their goal. They will lie, thief, and kill. They will even use voodoo. If I am like Bharat Ali tell me, they will even sacrifice other people's children to gain wealth because Guyana burn and legalize opium. Fellow Guyanese, you Indian and black, I'm not your enemy, I got both of you blood in me. Everything I accomplish from the black side of the family and friends. A way of thinking, a way of perseverance to live, a way of understanding the truth, while Indian is insult, humiliation, ridicule, and condemnation. I was told by Indian I would not meet 15. I will knock from pillar to post. I am dunce. I'm uneducated. I am stupid. I had a woman, was of a mother relative distantly. My young brother and her daughter like each other. And that woman said to her daughter, I wouldn't call name, that people that you like that by them and dog the same thing. Yes, but there is a God. And that might be my mother, distant relative. And even if it's not, it's worse. Friends, Indian fight amongst their own. Sisters hate sisters. Brothers hate brothers. They kill their mother and father for property and money. Even the other day, I see a girl and her husband or whoever, and three of them kill her own mother. And you Indian men love to throw fire water in their face, chop them, beat them. I want a law that when you kill an innocent woman who will do you nothing, being your wife, you must be light the fire or hang. You hear? I want that law. I want a law that when you keep the chop out your hand. I said that the other day, and some people say none of them parliamentarian in Guyana got hand. Yeah, he knows something I don't know. Because he happens to be a member of ministers' family, okay? I'm not calling name. But let's face reality. Under the late Burnham, he was the second richest black man in the entire world, according to the Ebony magazine. That he sent police to tumble every bookshop to look for that. I didn't hear nobody say nothing until the late Walter Rodney rise up in the WPA. UC Guyana was locked up. It's alleged. Walter Rodney was murdered by Gregory Smith, it's alleged. When I warned Walter about Gregory, he said, Brother Karaya, I know my people are ready for change. According to information, 2 hours before the death of Walter Rodney, Gregory Smith was seen leaving Freedom House in Rapp Street opposite Metropole Cinema that was there, heading down the road to Charlotte Street, where he joined a car and maybe went to the WPA office, and he and Rodney went with his brother. And he disappeared, give them whatever he leave, and Walter died. Now, it's all alleged, because you people want proof. Where will you get it from in a country like Guyana? Now, I tell you the truth. Under the late Frost Burnham, black people had everything going for them. 90-something% of the civil servant was you. Don't deny it. The few Indians who was with you who crossed the floor, 7 or 8 of them crossed the floor when the coalition government formed in the yard. If the yard did not form that coalition government, and let me give you all the number again. Mr. Burnham in the PNC had 18 seats. The yard had 7. Dr. Jagan had 22. He had the majority. The yard went with some of his members and talked to Dr. Jagan to join. And Jagan replied, he don't need an imperialist stooge. If you get the book with the X-13 plan, you would see what would have happened to 8, 16 or 17 young men, Indian descendant, you wouldn't live today. Today you're so fucking ungrateful. If it wasn't for Digar, you would have never, ever been in America, Canada, and elsewhere if you didn't collate. And today, you're all hollering for the coolie government, the laboring government. Friends, politicians on both sides talk sweet to gain your vote and your support. And they only take care of friends and family. Take I, George Corral. I joined every political party because I had wanted freedom for Guyanese. Is Guyana a country only got black people and Indians? What about the Portuguese and Chinese? The 4 who was brought from different parts of the world, Africa, India, China, and Portugal. Does you, the black man or Indian man, hear the Portuguese man or the Chinese man talk about Portugal or China? They were slave too. Whether you call it cheap labor or not, and you black people should be happy they brought them. So y'all going to get half a bit half and a logie and land to live in Buxton or Pleasance. That my good friend David Hines is alleged, always talk about the black people to sell all their property and they were robbed. I don't know. It's alleged, okay? Don't hold it against me, Hines. There is a God who will judge us all. But what happened in the 60s is not a forgivable subject. If some of you are still alive, you need to answer. So today, I want you all to get it clear. I am looking at Facebook, I'm looking at all the news, but I don't get confused. I refuse to accept the bullshit. Not to be confused over the bullshit, but not to accept it. I want to know one thing. Under the late Frost Burnham, too many crimes happened against East Indian, Portuguese, the few Chinese, not forgetting the Amerindian men and women. And when you black men in Guyana talk about slavery, Just look at your fucking self through a mirror and look at an Amerindian, what you all done to them. When you all said that the white man brought the ancestors out of Africa and slaved you, burn and take away, how many miles of land belong to the Amerindian? Did they get it back onto now? Attorney General? Nandalal? Did you all give it back to them? 9 tribes. When you black people and Indian get ready, you say the Buckman ain't got sense. There are a lot of educated Amerindian people. I see Ali going to the Amerindian neighborhood wearing feathers, but he don't look good in him. But he's a young man. They claim he had 19 counts, but I think was a count. And maybe by now, with Exxon and other deal, the man might got 100 counts. I don't know, might be a ledge, but not a pledge. Sincerely. I want to know, and I have nothing against critics or nobody, because I believe in one thing. A man must be a man and don't be a pussy because of your needs. If you are living without principle, you are not a human being walking in 2 legs. Morality and principle must work together. Which lips you open to use your tongue to call on God when your mouth is stinker than your mother crotch that you came from, with lies and deceitfulness and covetousness. All of you, I want to know. And for you women, I have an advice for you. A lot of you love to tell men they got 2 heads, one on the shoulder, one between the foot. And maybe you're right, but you all got 2 mouths, one up in your head and one below, one long way and one flat, with 2 tongues. So you all must be careful what you all are saying to us. But again, let's get back to the hypocrisy. The late Cheddi Jagan and Burnham divide to rule and to destroy Guyana and Guyanese Trust. How many black people living in America, Canada, and England, some are actors and actresses, great singers, storytellers. I don't see them boast and brag. I don't see them do that. But if 2 Indians get some big break in America, Canada, or England, the whole nation must know about it. Why? I don't see the Chinese do it, or the Portuguese. Indians love to boast and brag. They love to humiliate and insult, but you have good one amongst them also who can take that bullshit. So for you, the black man and Indian, who are intermarrying, Indian marry black, black marry Indian, to break the racial tension and to make children that will be a true Guyanese, congratulations. God bless you. Same goes to the Amerindian, the Chinese, the Portuguese. There are only 2 nations belong to Guyana at present. The native Indian, who's a 9th tribe, as the Amerindian indigenous people, ruled by 2 dangerous people, black and Indian. And you may not like it, but prove me wrong, Bharat, Ali, nothing. And another thing, there is no court system in Guyana, it's fair. There are good judges, good magistrate, good police, and good prosecutor, but they cannot do their job without corruption from corrupt businessmen who know politicians, who are in parliament, or who's prime minister or president. Judges have to toe the way because they got to live. But he who involved in a crime against an innocent man or woman and make the tears run down their cheek, your days are bitter, and the fruit you bring forth shall crawl upon the earth and eat the dust that the slaves walk upon. Both race, but you have good and bad amongst you. What become of Vincent Tika? What become of Saturday Saw and Mr. Barry Jack Deal? It's alleged during your time of presidency how many black boys was killed. I don't hear anything about that. And yes, you use a black man to be the prime minister, like what they're doing now with Ali. We don't have a constitution, we have an institution. And I've got many unanswered questions. We don't thief, we don't sell drugs, but we are victims of both race. Take Mr. Ramjatan, Kamraj, and Nagamutu, two hypocrites, who was in the PPP and wanted to be leaders and was kicked out by Bharat. Maybe Bharat have seen the danger and they formed AFC after fooling the coolie or fooling the country. Later, they joined PNC, who become APNU, but APNU is after PNC. Today, we are victims of both parties, the major party, and I will tell you here today, even though the Indian might be accused of theft and corruption, which you're right because it happened in every political arena, not only in Guyana, even in America, Canada, Europe, all over the world. They've all gone mad at this time. Race and religion come into context. So therefore, they're still developing. One thing with Indian people, they will develop for you to see, but they still thief. Their hands are in the cookie jar. For black people, you don't thief, I'll take it and believe that's your rights. But I'm calling on the decent, honorable black people, man and woman, and the Indian man and woman to unite. You heard what APNU and the PNC and the AMC talk about the PPP. And you heard what the PPP talk about all of them. And both sides are telling you about the fault, but yet you want the two disease to rule the country. You got Maduro wants 60% of the country. Mr. Benz, anybody who take part of that is treason. It is treason to have a constitution where a sitting vice president was the president twice, become a vice president. That's not fucking Russia or China, and that's not Indian country and black people country. It's an Amerindian country, which are surrounded by Brazil, French Guyana, Suriname, Venezuela, and others where indigenous people live. They don't have boundary, my friend. They're like nomads, walk from land to land. They've been exploited by the government of the PNC. Their women was raped. Many were killed in the Amerindian uprising. When was the Melvin and Hart family controlling the shooting of the police station? And many police take advantage on the Amerindian men and women, both sides, Indian and black. Today, dollar bill with Indian, they love taking bribe. So we call upon the decent Indian and black to unite. Today, a young man by the name of Mohammed is running to be the president. I don't know the man, never spoke to him, but I want to be a fair man. Is Bharat Jagdeo hand clean? Is Ali hand clean? Is Norton hand clean? Or all of them in the PNC and APNU? Is David Granger hand clean? Tell me, is Nanda Lal hand clean? Oh God, where are you? With all this crime and corruption upon innocent people, what are you waiting for? Send them mad, let people see. I ask you today, send them an example that people will know that you are the true God, the true leader and creator of this world that they can look up onto. Unite the world for humanity that to worship you. Today, I see on Facebook again, a young black boy sing about the Hindu gods. And maybe he sound vulgar, and he was charged and to be put in prison. Where is the lawyer? Where's the prosecutor? Bring the witness forward. If he sing about Sita, bring Sita. If he sing about Kalimai, bring them. If you cannot bring them, it's a ghost trial. And if they are God and goddess, they must deal with the young black man, not Bharat Jagdeo administration or Ali. Then we must have a law. Anybody say anything about a Hindu, execute them. Anyone say anything about a Muslim, execute them. Anyone say anything about a Christian, execute them. You fucking hypocrites. Y'all are hypocrites, man. Wake up, for God's sake. I know a lot of you. Y'all like to do wrong, like what Ramjatan do with my son. And you got family in America, don't make me start. Because we are servants of the United States. And the FBI got a list of all of you named. It's only time. Learn from the Shah of Iran. Learn from that man called Saddam Hussein. When Marlon Albright tell you to invade Kuwait and set him up and he was hanged. Learn from many great people. In our time, there were great leaders. They never get a chance. Hugo Chavez opened up Venezuela to 120-something thousand Guyanese. Most are Indians. They're living there, free land, free light and water. But I have a message to you, Indian and black, all who hurt us, we know you. Some of them who think we generated this Friday, well, we were building at Canaan. We got you all on camera because we had hidden cameras on some trees. So y'all can do what you like, we are just waiting. Because Guyana don't have fucking justice. And just so y'all could kill, other people can kill too. Some people will leave you to God, ladies and gentlemen. Guyana need a leader. Shuttle Muhammad, he killed Shorts, or Tall, or Twist, or Brad. Sudden, because he running. If Barrett Jackneo, the political department had known about that before, why did not order his arrest? But because he was eating and drinking with y'all, which means all of you were part and parcel of the fucking crime. Same goes to the PNC. If my brother kills somebody, and I know and I house my mouth, I am guilty of the fucking crime. But you're talking about law and order? Hand him up! If you had done it then, not now. The time for that run is already gone. There's a limit of that because nobody was charged. Come on. So all that is bullshit. So I'm calling on the decent Guyanese. We tried the black man, his corruption and racism and failure. We tried the Indian, his corruption and revenge. What happened to the 9 Amerindian tribes? I noticed y'all are going into the neighborhood, giving a little food, a little school, a little thing, and they're praising you because they don't know better. They need 45% of the wealth coming out of the fucking country so they can make decisions. And all the 2 shower, and 1 shower, and 3 shower, and 4 shower, y'all better take a fucking shower and wake the hell up. Y'all have been slaved and robbed with your own wealth. Could you do that to an Indian if you were in India and Africa? Could you have done it to them? India chased the European, Africa chased the white man. And the white man give them the country, don't belong to them, which means they're all of guilty to receive stolen property. We need a new leader, a national front government. And we need this bickering to stop. Because he who is without sin, Bharat Ali, cast the first stone. And every crime that was committed towards an innocent man, woman, remember the judge, the magistrate, the police who do it, and then when the time of government change, you will get justice. You will get justice, I promise you. We don't need political office. You hear, we need justice. Leave us a fucking alone. We pay our tax, we know what we have to do. Don't harass us. Mohalal must be arrested for blocking the egress and egress road. Surveyor who take money and do wrong must be arrested and charged and executed. And those who rob land, the land must be taken away from them. Dig a deep hole, shelf it like a basement, put them and their family below and cover them underneath. Give them it alive but under. They're fucking thieves. An Indian, you bastard. Wake up! I'm not your enemy. Let's unite and save the decent Indian and black people and human civilization. Bring the doctors from Ghana, India, Caribbean, and all who remember us in our past and unite and form a national front government and let equality and justice be the talk of the land. Thank you for listening. Amen.